We need children because we only have them usually in that pre-K year for 9 or so months. You heard from Dr. Whitehurst. They're coming in a year or two behind. They can't just gain 1 month of learning for every month they're in school. They have to gain at least 2+ months. So we can't waste their time. So for them to develop these concepts efficiently, effectively, our teachers need to plan and put things in place every minute of the classroom day so that children can make use of it. Time windows is a wonderful framework for thinking about this. It says, if you introduce something to a child, a new word, a new concept, and you do it once, and you build then off of that concept and expand on it in close proximity in time to the first time the child heard it, they're much more likely to remember it. So we're training our teachers to do that across the day in centers, in themes, in the books they choose, so that we have children learning efficiently, effectively. And then from the NELP report, we learned that we've got to have some very explicit, direct, targeted instruction going on in addition to child discovery. Small groups, key. And for me, that's where our ratio question comes in. If you know small groups work, we've got to not have one teacher trying to make this happen with 20 children. But it's not about ratio, it's about the learning process and what it takes to support that learning process. And then assessment has to be systematic, valid, predictable. And so we can't guess anymore. We have to give our teachers systems for doing this effectively. So that's the recipe. That's what we know from the research is important to put in place. How do we get teachers to be real experts at putting this in place? That was what we were charged with in the 2003 legislative session, and we took that charge very successfully. Not successfully, yes, successfully, but if we took it seriously, and then hopefully we feel we've got it achieved successfully. We looked at curriculum. We looked at a very comprehensive web-based facilitated professional development program with classroom mentors as an added component. And then technology-driven progress monitoring systems to inform teachers about how children were learning and what to do with which children next. So this was the resources, the integrated set of comprehensive supports for teachers. They got 2 days of sort of a framework in face-to-face workshops. And then they started their web-based group trainings, and they had a license to call up these many courses on literacy, language, social-emotional practices, math, early writing. They saw extensive video examples. They see experts commentating on what should be tended to in these courses, and they get a license to call this up anytime they need to or want to post their own activities that they've tried in their classroom. They get trained in a technology-driven progress monitoring system that can be on any type of technology platform. But before we said to Texas, this is the way we should go, we need this integrated, comprehensive set of supports, we said to the federal government, if you'll give us a grant, a competitive grant, we'll test this out systematically. And we went with this funding to 4 states. We systematically controlled Head Start, public school, child care, so we could tell if it worked sufficiently in all types of programs. We had 5 treatment groups in every city in those 4 states that we worked with. A business as usual, and then a group that got the PDA on the web with the mentoring, but without the progress monitoring system. Then we had a group that got the mentoring and the progress monitoring We got a group that didn't get mentoring but got the progress monitoring, and a group that got the professional development without either of the other supports. So this was a very controlled look at, do you need all of this to support teachers, or would one or two components do? We tested over almost 1,800 children. We also assessed teachers' change in their practices with systems like Dr. Pianta described, where observers went in and observed teachers and measured whether they changed across the intervention period in all these areas of instructional practices. I want you to keep your eye on the red bar. This is the groups of teachers that got the whole package, the comprehensive set of supports. On that broad range of observational areas, we see the best outcomes in the group that got the comprehensive package. Particularly emergent literacy was powerfully impacted. Again, the red bar, they're getting PDA, and they're getting professional development, and they're getting a mentor. Writing, print and letter knowledge, and the only condition where we saw change in language skills for the children, we saw literacy skills in a couple areas, but you needed the whole comprehensive package to get the blue children who were the lowest performing at the beginning and the green who were average. It didn't make a lot of difference for the children that were at the top end of the spectrum. We brought it to Texas. We tested it again. Random assignment, 11 communities, got very strong effects. And from that moment in 2003 and 4, with about 110 Texas School Ready classrooms, we have moved slowly but surely to this year serving 82,000 children in almost 40 communities with this program. So we are all over the state in all sorts of programs in each community. And I don't think we heard about this, but I think if we did a study to look at whether you get good predictions, whether you're in a fancy building or a little child care house with turquoise walls, I think if you have the right components and support, it can happen in this kind of classroom. We also haven't talked about teachers' responses to programs. Our teachers are so excited about this program, not just for themselves, but for the kids. Added to that, you've heard we have the Texas School Ready certification system, and the pioneer year of this showed that the well-implemented hundreds of Texas School Ready classrooms compared to upper and middle class classrooms were comparable on kindergarten reading and better on social outcomes. So we already showed this program can start to close that achievement gap. Just finally, this year we have finished a study to look at what could we put in place to bring that parent piece into the picture. And with a good grant, large grant from Kellogg, Dr. Jason Anthony looked at the National Raise a Reader program and devised an extra component to it called Family Nights, with just 7 workshops across the school year and the Raise a Reader book sharing program. All of these bars are in classrooms that are Texas School Ready classrooms. But when we add the Family Nights to a Texas School Ready classroom for language, vocabulary, all of the emergent literacy, we get an added benefit to children's outcomes if we put that very targeted family piece in place with our Texas School Ready classrooms. Just sending books home with parents, which is the middle bar, doesn't add a thing. We've got to engage the parents. So in conclusion, I think we have demonstrated in this program that intensive professional development improves instruction, it improves child's outcome, and the most effective programs are those that are intensive, they're comprehensive, and they're well integrated. It's not going to happen with just one piece. It's got to be a comprehensive set of supports, including that ongoing oversight and support for teachers. And most importantly, it can be scaled and be effective in all types of early childhood settings, thus allowing parents choice.